there. I have not done a Facebook Live for quite a while. So it's interesting because I was doing them quite often and I was feeling quite comfortable. And now I haven't done one for a while and got some flashing thing up on my screen here. Anyways, I haven't done one for a while and I was feeling a little bit apprehensive today. So here we are. It's Friday afternoon. It's 1:01 p.m. here on the West Coast in beautiful Vancouver Island. Although rainy, but still beautiful. It's not snow. We don't have to shovel it, so I'm good with that. Anyway, I wanted to get online today and talk to you about choice. So some of you know I've been working to support women around a program that I'm starting in January, which is called ILLUMINATE, Unleash Your Inner Leadership Brilliance. And one of the things that we come up against a lot in our conversations around their interest or their willingness to step in is around choice and them feeling that they don't have the power or the choice to do what they actually want to do. So I thought I'd get online today and talk a little bit about choice. And so I know people often say, well, not everybody has choice. So I'm coming at it from the perspective that if you are of sound mind and able to live your own life, not being controlled by someone else, like legally, then you have choice, freedom of choice. So oftentimes we don't think of a lot of things that we have in our lives as choice. So we choose all that we stay with in our life, all that we tolerate, and all the things that we get rid of. Those are choices that we make, and sometimes they're comfortable and sometimes they're not comfortable. Often we don't think of those as choices, and oftentimes we come from a place of having to do things versus actually choosing to do things we don't want to do because we don't want to be uncomfortable and actually speak to moving out or making someone else unhappy or spending money that we think we shouldn't. All of those things hold us back, and we often use them as excuses to not actually do what we want to do. And I certainly have done much of that in my life, and I see it quite often with the people that I work with, because the people I work with are just like me. We're no different. The only difference is when I recognize it, I'm able to step through it and not con myself, because oftentimes, I catch myself and I know that I'm lying to myself. I don't have to do anything. I often choose to do it because I'm afraid to not do it, or I'm afraid to step into something that's really uncomfortable. So I had two questions today. One of them is, what are you choosing into your life right now that is serving you to have the life and career you want? And then the other question is, what are you choosing into your life right now that is ensuring that you don't have the life and career that you want? Because they're both choices. Have you ever noticed that people get pissed off at you when they tell you something and they're mad at somebody or whatever, and you can say, well, you can do X, Y, and Z, whatever they're telling you, that it's a choice. And they get really pissed at you because they say it's not a choice, it's something they have to do. And so I struggle in a day-to-day relationship with somebody where I'm not their coach, I'm not their mentor, I'm not anything other than a sounding board. And the knowing that I have and the awareness that I have wants to say, well, that's a choice. And the other side of me, knows they're going to be pissed off about that. So I get that, and I do that to other people when they tell me what I don't want to hear. I can get pissed off at myself when I don't do what I know I should do. Well, should is another story, but anyways, what I believe that I should do. There's that should again. Anyway, so when did you last choose to go along with what you don't want just because you wanted to appease other people? When did you last choose to spend your money on things for others and rarely for yourself? When did you last say it's okay to choose a life that's an okay life versus a really exciting life? And when did you last choose to listen to others when they told you to stop complaining, to be grateful that you have a job, right after you just told them you're just dying to leave the job you have because you hate it and because your heart is 100% somewhere else. But they told you that you were being unreasonable. They told you that you weren't being rational. And they told you to just be grateful. And you chose to stand in that line versus stepping out into what you really want. And I can say, for those that know me, I worked in the public service for 18 years, and I left before formal retirement and had quite a few years left to build up my retirement fund or pension, and I chose to leave. And the reason I chose to leave was because I really wanted to do something else. And wanting and choosing are two different things. So I remember walking down the street with a colleague one day, and she told me that she only had 7 more years to grind it out. Those were her words, not mine. And I remember thinking, man, like, I've heard that so often, and I have felt in that place where, I didn't trust my judgment. I didn't listen to what I wanted, and I chose to do what other people said was the best thing for me. And I always resented it. I always resented it. To this day, I can look back and say, big places in my life where I chose to stand in line with somebody else's want versus my own. And I was never pleased with myself for doing that. And I did not serve me in doing that. So these questions that I'm speaking of today are really to sort of jiggle that in your mind. Where are you choosing to live a life that isn't serving you and that isn't empowering you, and that if you were to drop dead tomorrow, God forbid it, that you would be regretful? And I've had lots of change in my life recently, and lots of it's been difficult. And, I said that to myself, like, do I want to be in this place of unhappiness for the rest of my life? Or do I want to make a shift so that I can live the life that I choose to be more happy in? And, you never know what comes down the pike over time. But in the moment, standing in the place where knowing what's the right choice for me. Sometimes it's been hard, but it's always been the right thing to do. I have no regrets. Sometimes I regret that it took me so long. It has cost me at times financially for waiting too long to make the decision that served me best. But I have always learned from that, and no regrets. I made those choices. I had to own them. So here's another one. I hear this one all the time. I used to work in HR, and people would say they're choosing not to apply for a job because, well, they're okay with the job they have. They know it really well. They're good at it, and they likely won't get that job anyway. So why bother? It's a lot of work, and why bother? I used to hear that all the time. I still hear that from some of my friends. And it's like, convincing ourselves, talking ourselves out of what we want, because, it's safe where we are. It's comfortable where we are. We know it. We like to be in the known versus the unknown. Hey, there's Chrissy. Chrissy, hi, Chrissy. I'm really bad at monitoring both things, Chrissy, so welcome. Forgot what I was saying, but anyways, like, just with the career and jobs and stepping into the unknown, that's a common story we tell ourselves. We say, I won't get it anyway, or I won't ask my boss for X because I know they won't give it to me anyway. Oh my God. And I always say, like, how do you know that? And of course they don't know that, but that's their story, so that they don't have to risk getting a no or risk not getting that job. Because if I apply and I don't win, then I'm a failure in my own mind. So it's easier to tell myself, don't bother trying. Of course, there's, regrets because then they don't get what they want. And I totally get that, but that's a choice. And so today is all about choice. What are we choosing, and what are we choosing not to choose? Because that's what we're going to live with. And I remember someone saying to me one time, well, why are you tolerating that, Heather? And I remember being really annoyed with them because I didn't want to acknowledge and admit, yeah, I'm actually tolerating this and choosing to do so. And those kinds of awarenesses are really annoying, to say the least. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the two questions that I brought up at the front end. And the first one was, what are you choosing into in your life right now that is serving you to have the life and career you want? So I can say for me, because before I sat down today, I was thinking, well, what am I choosing into that's serving my life? And for me, this is committing the time, the money, the energy, and the training to build my work and business success. So I am choosing into that. And sometimes when I choose into that, I have to choose out of other things because I don't have as much time. I don't have money for other things. I certainly don't have the energy for other things. And the training that I take is expensive. So I am choosing out of other things in order to choose into this to serve what I want. There's always a trade-off. So what are you choosing into your life right now that is ensuring that you don't have the life and career you want? Well, these are the things that came to my mind that I would say have been barriers for me and things that I really have to watch I don't slip back into. So the first one for me would be continuing with relationships and friendships that don't support what's important to me. I'm an avid supporter and caretaker. I will put myself aside to serve other people's needs. And so for me, I have to be really careful not to continue with relationships and friendships that don't support me, because I can fall out of serving me and supporting me. For me, this would be putting my needs secondary, as I say, in a manner that negates creating the successes that I want in my life. For me, this would be playing small by lying to myself about what I really want. So the story about applying for a job and lying to myself and saying it's okay where I am, because that gives me permission to not step into my fear, to not step into my discomfort, to not succeed at what I really want. And finally, for me, this would be not investing in the mentoring and the coaching that propels my life forward and that keeps me believing in myself. Those are the things that I would be actioning in my life if I was actually making sure that I don't create the success I want. So they're all choices, and I am acutely aware. I mean, we all have blind spots, and sometimes things come up that I'm not aware of. Hence the having mentoring and coaches to work with, because they have the courage to tell me what they see. And I can't see what I can't see. That's why they're called blind spots. And that's why people deny they have them, because they can't see them. So we need people in our lives that will support us. And oftentimes that's not the people we love. There's too many buttons there. And so, working with a coach, working with a mentor, working with spiritual leaders, whatever it is in your life, those are the people that are going to support you with truth and hopefully love and kindness and care to see where you're not making choices that are serving you. And if this resonates for you, and if you're looking to step fully into leading and living your life and the potential you have as a leader, then you could choose to connect with me with respect to having a conversation around Illuminate 2021, which starts in January. So most of you who know me, and there are millions out there that don't, Illuminate is a course or program for women, and it's a small program. It's an intimate program, and that is intentional. It has 8 seats, and a couple of those are already gone. So we're moving forward in a good way. And this is all about you taking charge of your life. It's about you choosing you. It's an investment. And it's 5 months. We go from January to May, and it's all about shining the light within. So the size of the group is intentional. The title is intentional because the title is Illuminate. This is all about looking at ourselves and where we are not bringing our best selves to the world that we want to create. And it's also about getting the supports that you need to create the world you want. And that's what transformation is all about. It is about becoming our best selves. And I used to struggle with that. Well, what does that really mean? And the more throughout the course of my life, I'm an avid reader and an avid reflector and an avid person who's into personal growth. And over the course of my life, that's what, I can see has occurred, is that I have gradually over time worked on myself, kept looking within, and over that, I am constantly becoming my better self. And there's so many gifts in that, just in trusting myself, loving myself, believing in myself, not choosing to discard what matters to me. And, between where you are today and where you want to be, there is a gap. That's true for all of us. And it's usually the gap where, we get to that place where we're uncomfortable, we feel insecure, we feel that we're not capable, all our fears take over. And that's when we start to lean back into and fall back into where we are currently. So between where we are currently and where we want to go, there's a gap. Illuminate helps you bridge that gap so you can get to the other side. Because in Illuminate, we have a support structure. There's 8 of us, 9 with me. And the whole journey is about women who are successful, want to be more successful, want to define what that looks like, want to build a plan to get themselves there, and want to support one another. So this is about women who are leaders in their own right, but they are wanting to support other women, and they are willing and open to be vulnerable and look at themselves. And Illuminate is the bridge that's going to get you from here to over here. And it'll be fun, and it'll be work, and it'll be totally, I believe it will change your life. I promise that those who show up and play big with us in Illuminate, it's an opportunity to create the changes you want. It's, I don't know how often you've said to yourself, or you've heard other people say, yeah, I'd really like to do that. Or they see other people doing it and they say, yeah, I'd really like to do that. And then they never do because they don't think they can. Well, this is an opportunity to step into, yeah, you can, and here's some support that's really going to help you get there. It's not about reading a book. It's about who are you as a leader and how are you showing up and where are you showing up to serve yourself and where are you not? And how can we help you get to where you want to be so that you're living fully in the leadership capacity that you're capable of? And so this is about really digging into your true humanity and living into your bigger you. And I know that this works because I have lived this. And, my people are people like me. So those that work with me are people like me. They're people that have doubted themselves, have struggled to believe in themselves, have worked really hard, have created great success already, but something is missing. And that something is inside of us. The answers are not out there. The answers are in here. And this work will support you in finding that. So on that note, yay, I've done another Facebook Live, which I haven't done for quite a while, so I'm excited. I don't feel nervous anymore. And if you're interested, you can find me on Facebook, excuse me, and you can connect with me. All right, on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. Happy weekend. Take good care. Bye, Chrissy.